Euphoria Season 3 is pathetic and gross.
Where you at, Berto?
Euphoria Season 3 Episode 1 dropped recently, and to be honest, it's absolutely wank. Sorry to start the video off so abruptly, but truly, there's no better way.
I ain't gonna lie, Sydney Sweeney this season is going through a humiliation ritual, gang.
To describe it, the entire show to me seems like one big only propaganda. Pretty much every single one of the characters is involved in this trade in one way or another. It's genuinely diabolical. Now, a lot of people when I first aired this opinion on TikTok were saying things like, girl, you've clearly never seen Euphoria, or it's always been like this. And unfortunately, no, I have seen it. I've seen it twice, and it was never this terrible. Today we're going to be talking about how Euphoria is pretty much a manifestation of Sam Levinson's wet dreams, and how the first episode is full of blatant glazing of only and so many scenes that literally made my face twitch with cringe. I want to start off by acknowledging those who have the opinion that Euphoria has always been overly perverted. I agree in some ways, but it is indisputably worse in the first episode of the new season. Although Euphoria has always been overly sexual with an abundance of nudity, I believe that the soundtrack and the character development and the phenomenal acting from Zendaya kind of made up for it. The issue with the new episode already is it's got all the perverted scenes that we saw before, but in my opinion, they're amplified with this kind of new...
I hear what she's saying, but I'll also just add, bro, as somebody that is genuinely a fan of Euphoria, at least I loved season 1, literally loved season 1. I felt like it was a great experience, you know. Yes, there was, you know, perverted scenes, I guess, but there was a good storyline, you know what I'm saying? And I think one of the biggest criticisms that Euphoria had is like the over dramatization of like high school and it not being that realistic of what you know people were doing in high school. And that might be true to a degree, but I also don't feel like a show or something that is meant for entertainment has to have the responsibility of freaking being super realistic. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's an overly dramatized show for our entertainment. There's nothing wrong with that. And if the whole goal was to be realistic, then fine. But there's literally nothing, like, there's so many shows and movies that we enjoy that aren't realistic. So that throws that out the window for me. And then I feel like there was a good storyline that isn't just about, you know, sexual shit. You know, it's about overcoming drugs. It was talking about PDF files. It was talking about, you know what I'm saying, family dynamics, love triangles. So like, I feel like the original premise of Euphoria season 1 and 2 was pretty damn good. And then now season 3, it definitely has like a weird twist going on. But episode 1, to me personally, wasn't that bad. I felt like it was pretty good. I was interested in it. Episode 2 fell a little flat. But bro, it's only been 2 episodes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna reserve judgment and not sit here and be like, it's pathetic and gross, because that's the title of this video. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Are y'all enjoying Euphoria? Did you like Euphoria before season 3? Or, you know what I'm saying, or you kind of got lost somewhere along the lines? And did you even give season 3 a chance?
Whether you want to believe it or not, first impressions are literally everything. And something that is absolutely unavoidable when it comes to that is your skin. So if you haven't already been prioritizing your skincare, T. Tanley is here to save the day. This channel has been a proud partner with T. Tanley over the years, because when I tell you, when it comes to skincare, these guys know exactly what to do. If you click the link off my description, you're gonna get 40% off of your first starter box right here, which has everything you need to have a simple, straight to the point skincare routine, and a free gift worth up to $20 in value. You can't really beat that. Every box comes with a daily face wash. You're gonna be able to use this after a long day's work to bring back that refreshing feeling and get back in your bag. An exfoliation scrub to get deep within your pores and remove dirt and grime. You're only gonna use this one about like 2 times a week. An AM and a PM moisturizer to bring your skin back to full hydration. One for when you're going throughout your day, and the other for when you're going to bed at night. The super serum cream to help strengthen your skin for long-term benefits, and an eye cream to get those bags under your eyes just right. This one was big for me personally because I'm in front of the computer screen all day, so this has been a huge help. I love the eye cream. Every box comes with a super straight to the point instruction manual. It tells you how much to use, how little to use. If you're able to read picture books, you're going to be able to understand this. Click the link in my description and get 40% off of your first box and a gift worth up to $20 in value right now. T. Tanley is consistent consistent, it's easy to use, and it actually works. Now let's get back to the video.
Positive talk about the platform only, literally using the term only, and now a more intense inability to give the characters a job that isn't related to sex. The new ramped up sexual undertones combined with the word only being mentioned within the first 20 minutes, as well as the complete 180 in terms of the creative vision for the show, that I feel it makes it completely unwatchable. One of the first very things we see is Rue and Chloe Cherry's character, who, Chloe Cherry, by the way, I think it's worth noting, in real life is an ex or current adult content creator, shoving bags of balloons of drugs down their throat. And they're kind of like desperately choking on their fingers as they try and do it. Meanwhile, they're drooling all over their hands, their eyes are bulging and watering. They're like gagging as they do it. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like,
I can't wait for the next episode, but that's just me. I mean, I'm tuning in this Sunday. I'm recording this video on a Friday, and I am very excited to watch episode 3 this Sunday. Again, episode 2 fell a little flat for me, but I wasn't like, I'm off this. I'm still excited to see episode 3.
Sam Levin.
We'll see how it progresses.
And dead ass, like, come on. It felt like I was watching the producers get their rocks off. On something, by the way, that is already a disgusting notion. They're putting bags of Fent into their system via balloons. I don't think there needs to be an added layer of uncomfortableness to that. That's already pretty insane. Now, as I mentioned,
I think this woman might be a little, like, prudish or something. I don't know if that's too crazy to say. Is that TOS? I hope not. And if it is, I apologize. I don't mean no disrespect, but it's like, again, we watch things over dramatized all the time. It's not that deep.
Prior, some people pointed out to me that has always been a part of Euphoria in the previous 2 seasons. From Cassie, Sydney Sweeney's character, being topless in pretty much of 50% of the series, to literal montages of real hardcore pornography. There is no denying that Euphoria has always been sexual. I mean, even look back at when Kat was a dominatrix. I just feel like, though, in my opinion, you know, Kat being a dominatrix, there was still a storyline to that. It was this fat girl trying to identify her sexuality and feel sexy in her body as a bigger person. I don't really think in that storyline specifically, the sexual natures of the scenes was really the main takeaway. It was this kind of transformation she was undergoing. Although, arguably, I would say that the epiphany could have happened without the dominatrix scene. It is all arguable. You could technically not have done the scenes. But my point is, there was always more of a point to it. I guess what I'm saying is, I feel like the nudity and the innuendos in the first and second season could kind of be chalked up as, I guess, meaningful elements to the series.
Heather,
for example,
girl?
Cassie sexualizing herself was to highlight her constant need for validation, whilst also yearning for a deeper connection, to be seen as more than just a blonde with big boobs. Or, for example, the between Jules and Nate Jacobs' dad. Like, that was a horribly uncomfortable watch. I think the whole point of that was to highlight how Nate Jacobs' dad is a bit of a wrong'un, a bit of a weirdo. In episode 1, season 3, however, it just feels like lazy writing. It feels like it's sponging off of what's culturally relevant. There's a conversation between Cassie and her friend at the start about how only being is a common misconception, talking about how some people show very little on there and some people are even showing their art and, you know, the usual nonsense. And it's just a bit of an irritating watch. I mean, what's the point in this conversation if not to glorify OnlyFans? Many people have responded to some of my critiques by saying, well, isn't the point of it a social comment on OnlyFans being net negative? And my answer, quite frankly, would be no. Not at all, when the only character we have in the first season really criticizing OnlyFans is Nate Jacobs. And when Nate Jacobs is one of the most hated characters...
You know what's funny about Nate in this new season, though? He was so crazy and unhinged. I would almost compare it to someone like Homelander, if you guys are watching The Boys. Just somebody that every time he comes on the screen, you felt uncomfortable. That's what Nate was in season 1 and season 2. And all of a sudden in season 3, Nate seems to be the most sensible person on the screen. Like, he's actually like, yo, what he's saying is making some sense. Again, if you know, you know, but I've definitely picked up on that too.
Because he's so diabolically evil and unlikable, when he's the only one being the voice of reason, I feel like that doesn't really translate as a social comment on how OnlyFans is bad. I don't think it really equates to putting the viewers off of doing OF. Rather, it feels like the message is to rectify people's internal judgment about OF not being a real job. There's even this part in Cassie talking about OF where she says, what's the harm in making a single guy who's alone feel special by conducting a parasocial relationship with him? Rather than the focus actually being on men believing that women's bodies are commodities and that men think that they can buy consent. This leads nicely to the scene where Cassie is first seen filming OF content. You guys probably know when I'm talking about, the scene where she's dressed as a dog. She's wearing a harness, she's got the ears, she's got the makeup on, and yeah, it's diabolical. And in the process, her housemaid is the one taking her pictures for her, and then Nate walks in and tells the housemaid to leave, and he obviously looks pretty agitated with what Cassie's doing. He makes a series of comments about the song playing, which is, who's that doggy in the window? Something like that. And Nate makes a comment saying that basically this entire sketch is Cassie making herself out to be a prostitute, saying that she's calling herself a product, saying that she's calling herself for sale, and he clearly doesn't like it. This is the first conversation that Nate and Cassie have about OnlyFans, and his only comment is that she's prostituting herself. And I don't really get the impression that Nate gives a shit about these kind of platforms exploiting women. I think he just doesn't want people to think badly of his girlfriend. It's merely an image thing for Nate. I mean, he literally goes over to her after this conversation and grabs her by the collar and says, woof for me, or something like
Lobster,
for me, or something like that.
Man. Yeah, we talking about Euphoria right now.
This sexually charged scene, to me, proves that Nate doesn't have an issue with women or his girlfriend being objectified. He has an issue with men objectifying a woman that he deems to be his property. And we know that because of Nate's attitude towards women in the previous seasons. It becomes even more evident because when they had the second conversation about OnlyFans, while they're sat at the table, he agrees that she can do it as long as she doesn't show her boobs and her face at the same time. He doesn't have a problem with women being objectified or viewed as a sexual object. The problem he has is that other people will know that his woman...
I feel like her review of this show so far has just been like... She's given a lot of feminist vibes. Like, I feel like she's just mad that it's not like this show that is uplifting women or some shit. And again, like, I'm not saying that I'm happy that it's degrading women, or I don't even feel like it's just a show, bro. Like, are y'all not picking up on this energy, bro? She has like a lot of pick-me energy or some shit. Am I tripping? Again, bro, I'm not a Euphoria defender here. I'm enjoying the show, but it feels very one-sided.
Will be known for selling
all of her takes are like on some... All of her takes are on some like... Well, we could have done without this, and women. It's like, bro, just enjoy the show. The show is not... The show was not intended to be made as a women empowerment show. Like, there's a lot of different social dynamics going on. While that could be, a situation for one or two of the characters, like, that wasn't the overall message of the show, I don't believe. That's not even the whole message or dynamic for the main character. The main character was addicted to drugs. We could really kind of highlight and single in on that Rue, Zendaya's character, at least in season 1 and season 2, the main focus for her was her overcoming her drug addiction. You know what I'm saying? And then there's just these other love triangle dynamics that are going on outside of her character, which made the show interesting. But it's not just about that.
It's all about how he, as a man, will be perceived. No, I'm not really saying that I guess that's unreasonable. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a point in some kind of way. I feel like it's fine for him.
You said the bangs, the glasses, the piercings. Oh, man, she's just falling into the stereotype, huh?
Man to not want his girlfriend to do OF. That's by no means my point. But it is a bad faith
it's worth
argument
watching, Lobster.
to say that the constant...
I'll say this. I said this before, but if you haven't watched Euphoria... One of the two things are going to happen. You're either going to love it and enjoy the binge the whole way through, or you're going to like it and it's going to be something you can put on when you're, just eating your food, and maybe there's not this huge sense of urgency, but you'll enjoy it. I feel like anyone that is like, Euphoria sucks and it's a waste of time, you're just dry hating, bro.
mention and reference to only is a critique on modern day feminist. It's not. It's not. It's just not. Also, off topic, but in this episode, while they're around the table, the reason Cassie wants to do an OF is because Nate's saying he won't spend an abnormal amount of money on flowers, right? So she wants to make the money for herself. And Nate's basically saying you don't need to spend that much money on flowers. That's ridiculous. And then she says, I refuse to have a ghetto wedding. I feel like a lot of people don't actually know the true meaning of ghetto, but once you know the true meaning and you also think about Sydney Sweeney in real life, it's kind of ironic. I bet the director was like, no, Sydney, your line wasn't, I don't want a ghetto wedding. Your line was just, I don't want a wedding. She put the word ghetto in there. I bet she did. The next part I wanted to talk about is...
All right, yeah, that statement already just made me not even want to watch the rest of this video. Like, again, I thought we were going to get more into depth of the overall concept of why people think season 3 is pathetic or gross, but this is not what the people think. This is what she thinks. This is a very personalized opinion, which is fine. I'm sure that her viewers enjoy it and enjoy her opinion, but I don't think that's the general consensus. And then I will say, as somebody that is a self-proclaimed movie critic and show critic, I feel like for a show that was so good for season 1 and season 2, to sit here and call season 3 an absolute flop when there's only been 2 episodes out so far, I feel like that's pretty like irrational, honestly, because season 1, objectively across the board, if you go watch pretty much any critic or look at any ratings, it was a good show. It was a good show. So let's see how the rest of it plays out. But y'all let me know in the comment section. Are you guys watching Euphoria? Are you excited about season 3? This is the final season, so I am curious to see kind of how they spin it. And, you know, with all the tragic, I'm not going to give too much spoilers, but they've already confirmed certain things with the real deaths that have happened, to the actors. RIP to them, man. And let's see how it plays out. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all so much. My name's Berto. Whereyouatberto. Join the Where You At family. Link in the description so you never miss a live reaction on Twitch. See you guys there in the next one.
Where you at, Berto?
I made this shit look too easy.